Hello there guys, Star Wars Only here, and today I'm going to do a video called Why Disney Canceled the EU. Now I know a lot of people complain about this of saying, oh Disney, they screwed up Star Wars because they canceled the EU and how dare they do that and they're so stupid. They have a very valid reason to do this, and I'm going to explain that to you during this video. So I know there's a lot of EU fanboys, and I was an EU fanboy. There's a lot of cool things about the EU, but there's really specific reasons why Disney canceled the EU, and they're very valid. And I'm going to give you those reasons today, just so we can clarify exactly why the EU was canceled. It wasn't because Disney's evil and corrupt, it's because there's legitimate reasons on why they had to cancel the EU. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So why did Disney get rid of the EU? Is it because they hated the stories in there? Well, maybe, but there's certain reasons why they had to do it to make the new Star Wars films. And that's the exact reason they did cancel the EU, is to make the new Star Wars films. Let's say you're Disney. You buy Star Wars, put $4 billion into George Lucas' pocket to get the rights to Star Wars, to get Lucasfilm. You're wanting to make a movie on 7, 8, 9, but then you look at the EU and they've already made the story of 7, 8, 9. They've made everything that happened after Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. They've made Emperor Palpatine come back. They made the Thrawn trilogy. They made, oh god, what else was there? The Yuuzhan Vong War. Huge things like that. There's, what's his name? Cade Skywalker? No, or Caden Skywalker? I can't remember the guy's name. Damn it, whatever. But there's so many other characters now that you have to basically make. There's Jade Skywalker, Luke Skywalker's wife. There's so many things like that you have to get into now that you simply don't want to, or you simply can't, because you don't want to make a story off of Luke and Jade falling in love and Luke's children and Han Solo and Leia's children, all this stuff. You don't want to make that. You want to make your own original story. So in order to do that, you have to make the EU non-canon. Now, there should be some books, yes, that I agree that should be canon. I thought the Plagueis novel should be canon, but the problem with that is there's Exar Kun in there. There's Improvisate. There's all these characters they have to include now that, I mean, okay, and by the way, they're not actually in the novel as characters, but they're referenced. So they have to, show why they're referenced and all this stuff. There's so many characters they'd have to build off of now that they just don't want to put the time into. They want to make their own characters, their own story, their own universe. And whether you like that or not, it's just how it is, and it makes sense. They should not sit there and try to explain to me why Starkiller started the Rebel Alliance. They don't want that. I thought Starkiller starting the Rebel Alliance was cool in the game, but in a practical sense of watching movies and the actual story of Star Wars, it's kind of out of place for me. And Starkiller was very overpowered. He was very OP in the fact that, he could disintegrate clones like that, or not, but my bad, stormtroopers, and do all this badass stuff that was badass, but it's a video game, and it's canon. There was books about it that I had to read. I mean, they were good, but they were overpowered. Same with almost every single person in the Old Republic. That doesn't match up with Star Wars, the movies, at all. Because you don't see Yoda or Sidious doing all these crazy stuff like destroying TIE fighters out of nowhere like it ain't shit. They have to focus and work hard on that stuff, and stuff like that's in the EU that makes the movies seem kind of eh. The Old Republic video game was badass, the trailer was amazing, but that's not traditional Star Wars. So they most likely took that stuff away in order to not explain it, in order to keep to the Star Wars feel, because they probably think that doesn't feel like actual Star Wars. The EU had a lot of good stuff, guys. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty great, and a lot of people love Star Wars because of the EU and the lore within the EU. But you get, the comic books like the droid that could use the Force, the one that had a bad motivator in Episode 4, New Hope. Apparently, in the EU, that droid could use the Force. That is very stupid. I don't like that at all. But EU made it canon, so it was officially canon. Disney now made it non-canon, which I'm grateful for, because that just simply makes no sense. So, in Disney's defense, they had to make this in order to make episodes 7, 8, and 9. So ask yourself this. Would you rather have new Star Wars films come out every year in order to do that, remove the EU? Or would you rather keep to the EU and not have a new Star Wars film and just have your books? The answer's pretty easy for me. But it's just me. So what do you guys think? Do you like the new EU stuff? Well, not even the new EU, the new canon. I mean, EU's still there. It's just called Legends, and they use it as a reference guide. And do you like the fact that they're bringing in things from the EU to make Star Wars a little better, like Thrawn, who's in Rebels now, which is pretty cool. So there's things that they're trying to do right. I think getting rid of the EU was a smart move. It made opportunities endless for Star Wars now. The opportunities will never stop because the EU limited them to what the story could be and what they could write. Now that it's not there, they can do whatever they want. They have free reign. That could be great and it could be bad, but the opportunities for greatness in this are now a lot better than they were, than having to follow a strict storyline which was made by the EU. So, comment your thoughts below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do you agree with canceling the EU, or do you wish it would come back, or do you wish there were certain aspects of the EU that would come back, such as like the Darth Bane trilogy? So, comment your thoughts on that below. I'm Star Wars Only. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment, like, subscribe. I will see you guys next time. May the Force be with you, always.